that was the most terrifying thing ever.
Hello. We're here with the man, Kunal. Here he is. So Kunal is, for those of you who don't know, the chap who's in charge of Chaos Theory, which is one of the, I don't mean to blow smoke at your arse so early on, but one of the good guys of the promoting scene in London. You tell us a bit, Kunal. Tell us a bit. What is Chaos Theory? What's the deal with it, man?
What is Chaos Theory? Right. Well, that's a big question. It's there's a promotion I started off. First gig was 3rd of February, 2010.
Wow.
And it was just me putting on 5 bands in a pub, and I did acoustic nights as well, which had up to 8 people in a night. So that's the kind of level I started at, just trying to really get the numbers in. And that really, the whole point of it was is that I don't ever want to focus on one genre, and I don't want it to be about this is I want people to understand that there's something to be found in every genre, and jazz fans can love something in the classical music, and classical fans can find something to enjoy in metal and and rock and so on and so forth. And as it went on, just started working with more and more difficult to define genres of music. And then all these people started watching me, coming to the events, and started watching me fumble around trying to do the door and everything else. And then slowly but surely, over a number of years, a bunch of people came on board and became part of this team, crew, collective. They've all got other stuff going on, but they all have lent their services to Chaos Theory and made it this beast of a promotion. And now we have an annual festival to celebrate the birthday in February. And ended with 10 years of chaos in the Dome on the 29th of February 2020.
Wow.
Just before we went into lockdown, and it was one of my best favorite events that I've ever. It was my favorite event that I've ever put on. It was amazing. I had a great day. I say so myself. I shouldn't be that into my own stuff, but it was really, really fun, and it was a really amazingly run event by all the team, and the bands were brilliant. So
it's so weird, isn't it? So I mean, we just put out a little EP, the Hope and Anchor EP, from the gig that we did. Which is supposed to be a festival warm up, but that was from the beginning of March. And I was talking to a guy the other day about it. I
just clinched it.
It was literally like the news was coming through. It was all like, I remember walking into the venue and the sound engineer, Charles Wong, was there, and we were like, oh, we can't shake hands anymore. And it was all like a bit of an oddity, but it was, I have to say, it was quite emotional when I was mixing the EP, because, for example, like Steve and Stuart, I haven't seen them except for like through here on in a 2-dimensional world. I haven't seen them for a year, and it was just mind blowing, isn't it? I mean, what happened with when this news started coming in and everything? What's because I know you're very you like to keep yourself busy. What was your thinking? What was the plans going on in your head when this stuff was coming through? Was it just like, okay, cancel everything, let's just wait and see, or was there hope?
There was a lot of hope. There still is, but it was measured, I'd say. A lot of people thought I was being pessimistic in some ways, and I was like, no, I'm just being realistic. This is going to happen, but it's going to take a little longer than just this summer, I was saying last year. But no, at the beginning it was just I had a DJ set booked at Signature Brew tap room with Lonely Voyage, the record label, and we were like umming and ahhing. It's a free entry thing, so we're not selling tickets and asking people to pay for money to be in a crowded place. Should we do it? Shouldn't we? We want to support the venue. We don't want to let them down either. And it was this, do we want to let the venue down? Is it ethical to invite people? Is it ethical to still promote it? And then Lonely Voyage pulled out, and then I was like, should I do it? Should I not? And then I went on a few more days, and I was trying the line that, you know what, we're not expecting you to come. I'm not saying you have to come, but if you need somewhere to be, then it's a free entry. You can space out, and I'll be DJing. And then we decided just to pull it. And then a few people just started jumping on, like Robin Fencook, who runs Towards Collapse, an experimental IDM electronic night. promotion. He runs it with Alex Buttonhead, and they did the after party for 10 Years of Chaos. He is also a producer known as Metalog. Right. And he and Emily Bailey's done a lot of live visuals for the Chaos Theory festivals back in 2011, 2012. And she also did it for 10 Years of Chaos and 9 Years of Chaos. And so Robin and her, they basically he created a server and then produced a live electronic set on the 23rd, Monday the 23rd of March, and streamed it to Emily, who then overlaid live visuals to respond to it, and then streamed that out on Chaos Theory's Facebook channel. And they just did it as we want to do it via Chaos Theory, and we just want to everyone was just coming up with ideas. And during that set, halfway through that set, it was announced that we went into lockdown. So we entered that set as free citizens, as it were. And then by the end of it, we were in lockdown. So that made it very that felt very dystopian in many ways. Yeah. And so there were loads of ideas flying. We had a live stream show. We got a lot of ideas for audio-visual stuff. Robin created the server that he said we can use for other things. We created a live stream Zoom show where actually Jo Quayle, the trailer, she gave me a bit of an inspiration for that, because I was going to do one-on-one things, and she said Chaos Theory is known for curating lineups. You put together the one thing you do well is, well, not, she didn't say the one thing you do well, but she said one thing you're good at is, maybe it is the one thing I do well. Who knows? Maybe that's all I'm good at. But she said it's curating and mixing up on, putting bands together that are really well placed together, but their audiences don't know each other. And so she said, so then that planted the seed. We should do the same on a Zoom show. So we then started working out all the logistics about, there's a lot of technology to learn. So much technology. Most of the last year, just learning technology. Yeah.
Same with us as well. Yeah. I mean, again, talking to somebody the other day, we've had to completely change our working process, as it were. We can't get in a room together.
How's that happened? How have you changed your process?
Well, basically, we were very much, a band. We were very much, we'd go in a room, we'd make loud noises, we'd go, that bit's good, that bit's not good, or, that's, and we've kind of, I guess it's something that might have been happening anyway. And I guess it was just, this has just sort of preempted it. But, now we've all got our own setups. And we've made sure that we can collaborate. So, there's a lot of file sharing going on now. So, we've got kind of like the command center, which is my laptop. And then, we'll send demos to each other and then people will put things on. We share a lot of software. I mean, the advances that have been made in technology are just absolutely amazing. But
not true enough.
It's insane. It's totally insane. So just things like the amp simulators that we can use now. So it means that we can record stuff at home and sound half decent. I mean, we obviously still want to go into recording studios and stuff when we can. And obviously Stuart can't, he's got, he can't just set his drum kit up in the middle of his front room. Yeah. So he's been using like MIDI drums to work out drum parts. And I think what we're doing now is basically very much drafting stuff. Whereas before it might be like, we're going to the rehearsal room and just bang it out and, okay, that sounds great. Now it's kind of like, okay, we've got a version of it. And then 2 weeks later, somebody will go, you know what, this sounds better like this now, So I don't know. For our perspective.
Do you think it's easier?
Sorry?
Do you think in some ways it's giving you space to actually analyze different parts and work on them in ways you never might have before when you're jamming? Or do you think it's, do you feel that there's any benefit to that? Or?
Both have a benefit. I mean, what we're kind of hoping is that we'll have the material sort of locked down, and then we can go when we can go back into rehearsal room, and we can start loosening it up a bit, or adding things in the moment. It's actually Steely Dan. It was one of those classic album things, and they're saying Steely Dan are total perfectionists. We're not Steely Dan. We're not doing that. But they said they'd get the band in. They'd get the band in and they'd rehearse them to the point that it became robotic. And the guy, Donald Fagen, or Walter Beck, one of them, I can't remember, he said, because one step past robotic was performance, where you stop thinking about it and then you just concentrate on performing. I mean, that's a heady goal to aim for, but it's quite weird for us to have kind of the tracks getting like really locked down now. But that's actually one thing, you know. I mean, I know, as you were saying, a lot of the gigs we had booked for 2020, they kept getting rescheduled. So, you know, we were supposed to play in Holland in the end of March. That got pushed back to September, then got put back to March. You know, don't know if that's, you know, we don't know what's happening. But what exactly, as you said, what it did give us was a lot of space. I mean, I guess it's different for you though, isn't it? Because obviously your thing is putting gigs on. But it's interesting you say about like doing the online thing. Is that something you reckon you're going to carry on doing?
Yeah, I think so in some way. I mean, I think the thing is, originally I actually wanted Chaos Theory to be a record label, and I wanted to discover interesting artists and put them out on that. And then when I started putting on gigs, I realized gigs are what I've always loved. Gigs are how I discover and connect with musicians. I would never really understand if I just heard the record. Gigs are, gigs are, you know, that's just, gigs are where my heart and my soul are. So I realized that it had to be, that's what I did with my time. And so, yeah, I won't be losing that element because I miss it so badly.
Yeah.
I definitely am not rushing to book gigs like other people and other promoters have been. And I might find myself having a hard time finding a venue that's free when I'm ready because other promoters have been jumping on it. But also I do want time to, I mean, the thing is, I'd self-funded the entire thing, doing random leafleting jobs, freelance jobs, whatever the hell I could do just to make up money. And if I lost money, I'd just do a few extra shifts or some random job. But it doesn't give you much time to really develop it. So it's grown over 10 years, but at a really glacial pace. And I think I've gone as far as I can. And 10 years of Chaos Festival, that was the most terrifying thing ever. I was like really worried about a month before. I was having panic attacks and I was like worried that I was going to become like the next famous promoter who's not paid bands or something like that. And luckily it went all right, but it was very hard to tell. And I'm like, this isn't something you should be self-financing. It's time to get a little bit more organized and professional with that stuff. And I'm going to be developing more professional ways of dealing with things, which includes the live stream music show. We've got 2 of them online. We did them for free, but I'm hoping to tighten that up. Emily Bailey and I have just been working really hard on testing out loads of different scenarios, building loads of different setups and just seeing how they work, what can work, how much can we get away with. And we realized that there's no way around it. We just have to pay loads and loads of money to make something tight because you put on a gig in a venue and something's a bit off, something's a bit ropey. You still got the vibe, you got the community, you got the love, and if it's a good positive vibe, and it generally works out. But if you're just watching it at home on your screen from around the world, there's so much great professional content out there. You can't just get away with a shoddy effort. You have to put in a bit of have to be really sleek.
Yeah, so, totally. And
but to answer your question about will it be going forward, I'd like it to be an additional element. We've got Brexit. Forget the pandemic. Brexit's happened. There are a lot of artists that barely scrape by, they scrape by just to make it into the country. I mean, there's no way that those sort of mid-level artists are not going to manage now. So I'm going to try and find new ways to at least develop their audiences over here and develop UK bands' audiences abroad by doing stuff like that. And eventually, when the British government has got sorted out the fishing industry and whatnot and realised that, actually, UK culture has been really suffering the last 2-3 years, they might fix that and come up with ways to make it possible to just tour around Europe as before.
But fish, Kunal, fish. What about the fish?
Fish. What about the fish? I know, it's important. But I mean, we've got a bunch of people who don't, I mean, government's run by people who don't really go to gigs, I guess. They don't really feel it. They don't understand the culture. They're not the ones who get it.
It's always a thing though, isn't it? It's with all this stuff, you know, the arts are always the first things to be cut, aren't they? Because they're I don't know, it's an abstract concept. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I've seen a few things that, you know, somebody, you know, when people, you know, if you see a poster, you know, an artist designed that poster, whether it, you know, the road signs have been designed by somebody, you know what I mean? There's art everywhere, you know, there's culture everywhere. And I think it's just because, I don't know, you just get so used to it everywhere that you just take it for granted. So I think there's this bizarre idea that without, you know, it will just happen anyway. it's just going to happen.
People
So
take it for granted because they feel like it's a privilege. They take it for granted, exactly like you said, bang on. But they feel like, well, you wanted to do it. You're aspiring. You should be grateful. You should be grateful for the chance to do it. It's like, yeah, but there comes a point where you need to be paid.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the musicians. Every musician I've worked with, of course, when I started out, everything was run on favors, and then I started doing a door split with everyone. You played quite a few of my gigs.
Yeah.
The deal progressed over the years. I mean, the first time you played, it was probably like, 10% or whatever, plus this amount if we hit this many sales, something like that. And then eventually it just becomes more and more of a fee, and then a fee plus a bonus if it's the other way around. And I've even had artists make me the staff essentially and promote their gig for them, and then they'd give me a ticket split and tell me to it. And I'm like, we have such faith in each other by this point. We've got such a good relationship.
Yeah.
There've been lots of ways to do it. You basically were in charge of your album launch and the Black Heart.
Yeah. And, sort of, I don't know, like a co-promotion, wasn't it really?
Yeah, and I'm like, you definitely do not need a promoter to fill the Black Heart. The Fierce and the Dead does not need a promoter to sell out the Black Heart. The Black Heart's great, but it's 200 capacity. You can sell 200 tickets easily. What are you doing? And it was just about the relationship, and also you knew it would be taken care of. You knew the event would be run, and I guess that's what it was. And for me, I'm like, absolutely, of course, I'd love to. Are you sure? You don't really need me. Are you sure? But it was really great to be part of it. We got to do a lot of extra fun. You put a lot of energy into the show that way, and just made it a bit more fun, and just got to do with your fans and perform. Yeah,
exactly. I think from an artist perspective, the thing that a good promoter does is take away all of that, worry. Because we've put on our own shows, we've put on small shows, and it is that thing of, let's face it, any kind of, if it's done properly, I think there's no such thing as a safe bet for a promotion for a promoter. So yourself included, most of the good promoters have been willing to take a chance. And a lot of time it involves their own money. It's literally a roll of the dice, isn't it? Because, we came up against stuff, didn't we? When we put on gigs that, you book a gig and then you find out it's on the same night as 7 other bands that are, linked.
7 other relevant bands of the same audience. And they didn't announce it until after you'd booked it and announced yours.
And then, exactly.
Could have avoided it. Yeah. Stuff like that happens.
Exactly. It's always a roll of the dice. But I think,
all the tube lines go down on that day or something, and it's just, some people have to travel 3 hours instead of half an hour, and they're just like, oh man, don't know.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of silly reasons, but that's, you can't make them an excuse for a poorly attended night. If you don't want to go up against that stuff, don't promote. If you don't want to go up against clashing, don't promote in London. The best thing about London is there's so much potential audience, but also there are about 7-8 other gigs you definitely want to be at on the same night.
Yeah, it's just always going to be, isn't it? That's unavoidable, isn't it? Yeah. But I think definitely from the artist perspective, it's always just really reassuring to know that somebody's kind of pulling for you as well, and also as well. I mean, the bands, the bands that you put on, and the sort of style of music we play, and all this, us especially, me and Matt talk about this all the time. We're acutely aware that we are. How's the best say it? Unusual, we're not going to get necessarily a particularly mainstream audience, and and a lot of the bands that you put on as well. So it's do you, when you go into a gig, how sort of you obviously you only book bands you like. I mean that's a given,
It was always a rule, like even everyone else, because I'm not the only one who informs the bands I work with. Everyone in the team brings my attention to bands that they've seen or love, and the first rule is would you buy a ticket to see them again, and would you buy their album?
Right.
And would you actually pay for it? Like if you wouldn't spend money on them, how can we ask other people to spend money on them? Do you love them that much? So it's the first thing. So.
That's a very good way of starting.
Yeah, so basically, at least a few of us are fans of everything that we put on.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of this divide. Like some the people really love math rock and stuff, but some people are like make fun of my really avant-garde dark ambient. Like they're like, what are you doing? And it's like, it's all right. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to pretend you love everything. but at least everyone gives it a go. And I mean, so I do look. I mean, I have to be. I try and see a band before I put them on, because like The First and the Dead, the perfect example. With the greatest respect, I was aware of you for a few years before I got your music. If I'm really honest, it was like until I started seeing you.
Yeah, that's quite common.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. So and I just didn't understand, and I didn't. I also I was reading so much about you guys and reading articles on that, and I was like, they know their stuff, but what? I'm not a guitarist, so maybe I'm missing something here, or like, and then I just saw you guys, and it clicks, and it's again a testament to the energy you get in the room, and just seeing stuff. As a person who has watched a lot of musicians, gets the basics, but I'm not a guitarist or a drummer, so but when I see people doing what they do, then I'm like, okay.
I think everybody loves
it, and I feel it.
Yeah, everybody loves to see four men stumbling around on the stage. I mean, it's basically vaudeville.
Absolutely. It's great. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, when booking bands, it's it's really hard. We have to. It's like you were saying about when picking a promoter, it is a relationship.
Yeah,
it's a relationship. You have it's not just a promoter. It's the venue. It's the bands I work with. It's not just about do we love the music. It's about can we work with these people? Are they easy to work with?
Yeah.
None of us. I mean, when you're really, really famous, sure, then you can say, we're just going to turn up and play, and it's on the promoter to promote. I get that.
Yeah.
But when none of us are that well known, then everyone needs to. I mean, at the end of the day, it makes sense. You've got fans. Tell your fans. Some people just follow what Chaos Theory does. I'll tell them. Well, it'll make it easier for everyone. The support bands, everyone will do the same. Everyone in the team shares stuff. It's not just me. Everyone's sharing stuff on their Facebook and all that, and just doing their bit. Everyone just gives it a go, and then it becomes quite a lot of an easier job, really.
Yeah,
a semi-full room at least. So it is about places I enjoy being at. There've been some venues which have actually in the past thrown money at me or offered to throw money at me to put on gigs at their places.
Really?
Some great locations as well, but they're just staff. I don't know, the drinks were rubbish or the bar was crap, and the bouncers were so rough in one place. It was just so rough and aggressive. I was like, anyone I bring here is just going to get hassled the whole night. It's just going to be a shit night. They always had bad vibes in that place. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to do it. So we have to go to the place. We have to like the venue. We have to like the bands, and we have to, like everyone involved. It's a relationship. We want the venues we work with to do well. We want to work with venues that we enjoy going to anyway. All the venues we work with, I like going to as a fan, as a punter. And same with the bands. I'll go and watch you. I'll buy tickets to see you whenever I'm not putting you on. It's just easier for me just to organise the ideal lineup for me and then just show up there. And, it's just, I put on gigs that I want to see, but it is everyone involved. The people you invite as well, the crowds. I mean, they're really, really important. Over the years, the crowd at Chaos Theory is so nice. Like one of the first venues I worked with, the Miller pub in London, they used to say, in London Bridge, they used to say how nice our crowds were compared to some of the other nights they got, and they really wanted to. It just made it an easy decision for them to work with us.
Right.
So
nice.
It's
that's cool.
Every element.
Yeah.
You got to think of everything. The experience. I mean, the bouncers and the people on the door. That's the first impression of your night, and then that's going to affect your mood and how you act, and your impression of the bands and everything. It's just you want good vibes. You want good vibes, and you want problems managed.
Couldn't agree more. And that's something that we're always aware of as well. Exactly the same thing is that, when we play a gig, if we're at a level where, we're not even on the bottom rung of the ladder. We can see the ladder somewhere in the distance, but we're very aware that people will come to see us. And so if we say, oh, we're going to do this gig, then we are, whether we like it or not, whether we ask them directly, we are saying to people, come to this place, and you have to take some responsibility for that. If you just say, oh, I'm just going to do this place and it's a horrible experience for everybody, it's, it just doesn't sit right with me. I don't think, we're still, able to, have really good relationships with a lot of the people who come and see us. A lot of them are friends. It's a real collaborative effort. And I think, if you just exactly as you say, we have in the past we've played some venues that we didn't really know about, and you turn up and you're like, this is a bad vibe place. This is you get the idea that it's just, just they've just booked you because they looked at your Facebook page and you've got a certain number, they've got no interest in what you do whatsoever at all. They just want to get punters in to buy some drinks and that's it, and
yeah.
I don't think that long term that doesn't work for anyone. Because actually talking about, we've done a few shows for you at the Black Heart. And for those who don't know, the Black Heart is it's a pub. It's a pub in Camden.
Pub in Camden.
Yeah, it's got a great little
upstairs
room. Yeah, a great little, it's, what is it, 150 capacity?
I think it's 200.
Is it 200? Yeah. So
the 200, but then they installed these permanent seats and benches last September, I think, so they can do limited capacity gigs.
Oh, okay, yeah, because of
now it's like 45 capacity.
Wow, yeah. But I know they're in quite a lot of trouble at the moment, aren't they? As are a lot of venues. I know you've done the 11 Years of Chaos compilation, which is going to donate money towards keeping them going as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a huge amount, but it'll help, hopefully.
Yeah, every little helps. But what do you reckon? I mean, what are you hearing about, venues coming out the other side of this? Because I know so many of them are struggling like mad, What do you reckon, man?
I mean, basically, there's not every venue I know of has still had to pay their full rent and fees and everything.
Wow.
The entire time since this whole thing started. Whether they've had any business or not. So the Black Heart's done, a lot of places have done everything they can.
Yeah.
A lot of venues have received cultural recovery fund from the Arts Council, who are frankly doing an amazing job under probably one of the busiest periods they've ever encountered.
Right.
And there's definitely not enough money to go around, and the Arts Council seem to be doing a sterling job from everything I'm hearing, as much as they can under conditions. But yeah, so but the Black Heart, they I don't know why, but yeah, they've been battling with the owner of the building, just trying to get some sort of a reprieve. But then they announced that they've got a crowdfunder and that they have to come up with 150k by the last week of March. And
that's crazy.
The crowdfunder has been doing so well, but it's still it's on track. If everything consistently keeps going, it's going to be just by the wire. So and the Black Heart, it's just an amazingly run place. It was we had this monthly night. I had lots of different monthly nights by theme. So I had the Jazz Market, I had the Glitch Kitchen for electronic music, I had Whispers and Hurricanes for classical and folky stuff, and the Face Melter, which was the most popular one. And that was always in, that was started off in Old Street, then it was in London Bridge for a few years, and then in 2014 we moved it to the Black Heart, and that was probably the best decision we ever made. And it was on the first Friday of every month for 5 years at the Black Heart, and the Black Heart was one of the very first venues that wasn't constantly. I mean, obviously they need to do well, but they all venues are under such pressure to make money at the bar. They really need you to bring in. I mean, one of the first venues I ever worked with, the manager told me, I don't even care if people can't tune their guitar, as long as they bring a bunch of people who are constantly drinking and buying my beer.
Wow,
that's what I need.
That's what we're saying,
Yeah, but I mean, they've got rent to pay and they live in London and they have venues in London, so that's the kind of attitude you meet usually. The Black Heart is run by proper music fans and metalheads, but they don't just stick to metal. They're quite open with what they let you put on as you gain their trust. I've on some pretty strange gigs there, but they run a bar downstairs and it's a standalone bar, and they make it really interesting as well. Because obviously you've got, if you want your standard metal pub, lagers and stuff, there's plenty of places for that in London, and there's a place for it, and I love it. And but if you want to just go and taste some weird craft beers or some, even though the Black Heart always humouring me and bringing out whatever bottle of single malt they have just to show me when they're really busy, and they've got that covered. So it's a really interesting, fun place to be downstairs, and it's just got a vibe. And then upstairs you have the separate gig element, and they let you do what you do there, and people are buying the drinks downstairs, so they're not under pressure to make, obviously they needed to be full, they still need people buying drinks, but they don't pressure you in the same way. They let you, which kind of gives you a bit more scope. And they've developed such a reputation and such good relationships with people around the world that they've had some really massive bands do Secret shows there and all sorts. So
Yeah.
this crowdfunder has actually, they've been working really hard, and just, I've been asking them about bookings and stuff we can do there. And they're at the moment, they're just getting like McKellar and, Motorhead to donate stuff as prizes for their crowdfunder
Right,
and things like that. They've got some really huge affiliates and people just all over the world giving some really ridiculous prizes. So I was like really trying to get a lot more people to donate to Chaos Theory and stuff at the beginning of the whole lockdown and buy our merch. But then, for one thing, I was actually defrauded. My PayPal was hacked into by a friend's computer who I'd logged into there once, and they'd not. I don't know, they had logged out, but still, they'd managed to get hold of it. So I couldn't actually sell merch for 2 months anyway.
Oh no!
Last year, and but got that sorted. And then after that, we were like, you know what? I do other stuff online. I have other freelance work and things. The venues, I don't have like a venue to pay rent. The promotion does need help, but without the venues, it's good. So I then started focusing more on Save Our Venues and stuff like that. And then I brought out the 11 Years of Chaos compilation album. That was meant to be a fundraiser just for Chaos Theory for me to buy some of the stuff I need to put on professional shows going forward in the new way that I'd like to. And it's quite a hefty price tag on all of it. But then I was like, you know what good is that without places like the Black Heart? And we really need it. So I thought we'll chuck them 10%. And then some of the artists were saying we'd donate a track for free. And then I don't know, I just felt like we should it's a tiny amount, but every art, because there's 26 different musicians, bands on there, but I felt like we should throw something towards them. And then it's a fundraiser album for Chaos Theory mainly, but also it's to support the bands a little bit as well. So if you want to support the bands directly, support the bands directly. Yeah. But if you want to support us, then you know that at least some of it's going to the bands and that you're supporting the Black Heart as well, because, I just want, I'd be completely devastated and distraught if we lost the Black Heart. And I think hundreds of thousands of people probably would be around the world. It's been so many moments that have happened in that place.
I know there's quite a few. I know the Lexington as well was having to have some fundraisers, and there was a few other venues around. I think we're going to come out into
the Windmill in Brixton.
Yeah, there's going to be
they were struggling. I mean,
it's just there's going to be a little bit of a bit of a shift in the landscape, I think, as well. This is one thing that always got me as well, is that from the government, there's always this talk about investing in new culture, or kind of this thing of like putting instruments into schools and encouraging music programs and all this kind of stuff, which is great. But you have to realize if you get people into music or into performing or whatever it might be, and then they come out the other end of it and there's nowhere for them to play, it's what's the point? And that's been happening for years now, hasn't it? Really, they've been kind of like cutting back on these venues.
It's already happening.
Yeah, it was happening before the pandemic, and
we're already losing the mid-level and smaller venues anyway, in London especially, and everywhere. It's just people find it hard to keep those places full. And I don't know, in a lot of other countries I've been to, it's just less of a thing because there's quite a lot of local government and national governmental support. Totally. In ways that it's just not normal here. And the amount of European artists I've worked with who are just completely aghast at how little there is to offer over here compared to what they get anywhere else, and which doesn't make it an easy decision. So you do see lots of bands skipping England on their European tours anyway. Now it's just going to be even harder. So really, it's only going to be the really hugest ones. And then and same with venues. Like you teach people, you get people interested in playing music, you teach them, and then where do they play? How do they become the next massive stadium filler that the government wants?
It's that thing. We noticed that you've got the smaller venues, the sort of like the 100 to sort of 200 capacity places, and then you've got the bigger venues, the 800 to 1,000 kind of things. But then the 500 venues, the ones that stepping stone that you need, like the Borderline went. The Borderline London, which is,
just going to say the Borderline,
which was a massive thing, and it makes you realise that the problem is for those venues, is that there's bands who are too big to play them, or there's bands who too small. But the bands that were kind of like on their way up, they would use them as the stepping stone to the next one. But because they, they just got no support at all. I mean, the Borderline was, I mean, my God, that's like, kind of one of those legendary venues, you know what I mean? And it just couldn't keep up, just nobody was booking.
What it comes down to, they've got to pay rent in Soho, and they've got to only book bands that will completely fill the place, but which makes it really hard for them to make the kind of decisions they maybe want to make. Or you get, venues which will only let you do early to midweek gigs. And I was always insisting on weekend gigs for the new nights that I was doing, because I'm like, these artists aren't big enough to play on a Tuesday night. And you expect, I mean, at the very least, we need a weekend just to make it a bit of an easy decision for people to come out. But that's harder and harder, because venues make their money not at gigs when people are sipping thoughtfully their drink while they're watching a band, and then they're rushing to the bar between the sets. They need a club night where people are constantly streaming to far. It's just constantly, that's the only way they can do it. So,
right, yeah. Wow, I never even thought of that.
Yeah, that's why, the Underworld, they have like a club night on the weekends. So did the Garage, I think. The Dome, I've just started a thing called Drag at the Dome, and they're streaming that every Friday night. They did their first one last week, so it's a drag place, and they want to make it into more of an LGBTQIA plus friendly atmosphere, and they want to make it, I mean, it's all good stuff. There's nothing wrong with any of the things I've said. It's just from a gig booking perspective, if you want to try and book a weekend gig, the venues are up against it. There's no support, so they have to do what they can. And at the end of the day, they make their money at the bar. So
that's it, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I mean, the festivals as well that have kind of, been going on, it was pretty healthy, not just like the bigger festivals, but even like, like the festival you put on, I don't know, there's like Raw Power and a few others. They're all pretty healthy kind of scenes, Portals and people like that putting on decent shows.
Art Tangent Festival is probably the biggest UK festival for underground music.
Yeah.
Well, there's also they're super normal, they're supersonic. There's, in the UK, if you want to deviate, if you want to go away from the mainstream and the commercial, even in the world of metal, like the download, but if you want to go away from things as commercial, let's say as that, there's still so much to enjoy. In the UK, totally. So many people putting on festivals. It's great. And so we have Baba Yaga's have got Raw Power Festival coming up at the end of August, and Portals is coming up like 2 weeks after that in the Dome.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Dome, but and it's just, they're selling tickets. They've got, I think one thing is, it's probably going to, if I do 12 years of chaos, which I'm not sure I'm going to have it in me to do.
You've made your bed. You've done the 10 years. You've got to do something now. You've now done it. You've
Well, 11 years of chaos. It was lovely to do a compilation. I want to be at a festival, but you know what? I don't know. I mean, I might have to wait until 13 years and do some smaller events for 12 and just some special events. I don't know, because I've got to sort out a lot of other stuff that I'm planning. And I don't think if I leave myself 6 months to put on a big festival, that's not enough time to promote it.
Wow.
And, I don't know. Maybe I'll be kicking myself and everyone else will be enjoying their festival. And also, if I'm really honest, I'd like to just go to a few festivals and just enjoy them and not have to worry about organising an event. I'd like to actually just be at a few gigs and festivals and just feel it again. And then
well, I think we all do. I think we all do, definitely, yeah. Like I said, mixing the that Hope and Anchor EP and just hearing, the fact that there was a lot of people in one small room just seems weird now. I really...
Did that bring up some feelings?
It definitely did. Yeah, I got quite emotional. I really did. Just hearing some of the little banter in between the tracks between us and the audience and all this kind of stuff, and just it seems like it was recorded on Mars or something. 20 years ago or so. It just feels very, very weird, very alien. But so
far away.
Yeah. So how did you? I'm always interested. How did you come to this, music? You said about you wanted to do a record label first. Where did that come from? Where did you think, I want to do this? I mean, were you in bands yourself? Were you playing or anything?
Yeah. yeah, before I moved to London, I was a singer. Well, I say singer, let's say vocalist, because I couldn't sing that well. But for about 13 years in a whole bunch of bands.
Oh, wow.
I actually started. I used to just walk around shamelessly singing in the street to myself to songs, just singing all the time, really loudly at the top of my voice. And London's kind of given me a bit more of a shame factor with all the years of shared housing, but for that. But I used to do that an awful lot. And then one day at uni, just in the pub in my first year of uni or second year, some lady just came up to me and heard me singing Queens of the Stone Age, I think, and said, "I like your voice. My housemate's looking for a singer. My roommate's looking for a singer." So I was like, all right. And so I went back and met this guy.
Yeah.
And we just jammed a few songs. And he said, "Yeah, all right, you're in the band." And then 6 days later, we had our first gig just playing covers. And
6 days later.
then after that, that was my first gig. And I definitely forgot the lyrics for one song and just made sounds. And it was fun. And I just found a connection and a love for it that I'd never experienced. And then 2 years in this band and then writing with them. Then I lived in France for a year and I was in a jazz band there and a French folk band and a metal band as well. Wow. And then I came back and jammed in a prog jam band for a couple of years. And then when I lived in Leicester, I was with a sort of progressive metal band for a bit. Yeah. And then I was trying to find a way to get work in London and move into the music industry there and work in some sort of work on setting up my label. Yeah. And then I saw an ad for a sub-promoter job, which I realised wasn't what I thought it was later on, but at the time it was my way in. And some venue in Old Street just basically wanted someone. You pay a higher fee, and then you just they give you loads of tips from selling. Basically, I learned a lot. I did get a bit of bad advice at the beginning, like you basically screw the band. You got to make your money back. They're only allowed to make money if you get, they sell 50 tickets each or something, and that kind of thing. I didn't do it that badly, but I was like, all right, so we'll do 10 tickets per band, ask people who they come to see. And I realized that's not really a gig, is it? Like, you ask people who they come to see. But what they just came for the gig, you're promoting a gig, you're promoting a lineup. So, that went fairly quickly. But it got me in then. Then I realized after doing a couple of these, I was like, I don't really want to do a label. I love it. And then I moved to London to be a singer. I wanted to be a small fish in a big pond and find some really great bands. So I did try for a couple of years to just jam with bands. And it was nice to find people who are so picky, because they were all my life, all across north of England, in small villages in France and in the Midlands. It's just like, oh, you can actually sing, you're in. You can hit a note, you're in. And in London, it's like, okay, yeah, we got to do 2 stages of auditions and different things, and we're going to just take it. And you're really nice, but it's the sound of your voice compared to this tone is better with this, and people can afford to be that picky, Right. The tone of this other person's voice is a little bit more what we're looking for, or So, and then promoting is so the opposite of creating. It is very creative, and the way we promote gigs is very creative.
Definitely. It really is, very much so.
Organising, project management, promotion, advertising, team management, event management. It's just so the opposite end of the mental scale compared to creating. I just slowly did, and it took so much of my time because I was building this thing. Yeah. And then just trying to keep my head afloat in London. I really didn't have time to do it. Anyway, only in this lockdown, actually, I started renting a studio last winter, and just started going there for a scream just to feel that again.
Bit of primal screaming.
Bit of primal screaming, just in a studio, just literally make horrible noises and just feel okay and let it all out, and it's been quite nice. So so that's why I became a promoter. I've never heard anyone ever say I want to be a promoter. There's always some weird story that got them into it, but it does come from a passion and a love of music. No one ever wants to be a promoter, but it's given me so many experiences, man. Like I've met probably hundreds of musicians who I've worked with of all different types. The amount of stories, the amount of creative, and not just musicians. I mean, I work with visual artists. I work with, gifted filmmakers, photographers. I mean, it's just audio engineers. It's just the amount of talent and creative ways, and the way you can apply creativity to any element of your life. It's really just been, it's quite a privilege, actually. I mean, the amount of influences I've got. Yeah. Or just people I know. It's not like people I just used to, like buy albums of, like Maynard James Keenan or something. And it's like people I hang out with, people I know, people I've met or bumped into. They're like all massively influential to me in some way or another. So it's just really inspiring on a constantly refreshing basis when you're putting on different gigs and working with different people in such a way.
Have you ever, you ever sort of, you know, thought to yourself, you know, if I put on some more kind of like mainstream, I don't know, like mainstream rock bands or something like that, you know, maybe I could do bigger venues? Or has there ever been that temptation to kind of just say, you know, maybe I should do one for the money, you know, because
it's come up.
Yeah.
It's come up, but I don't think the margins are that great, to be honest. Every time I looked at it, you're still kind of left with the same percentage of, you know, and most of it gets hoovered up. The bigger the event, the more costs there are. And also, I mean, like, I still have to like the band. I mean, like, if it's a really big band that I love, there's probably nothing I have to offer that they can't get sorted by someone else anyway. So what am I actually helping them with? How am I promoting them in a way that they haven't already been done? So what have I got to bring to the table? Or is a mainstream band that I don't like, and I'm like, I can't honestly bang on. You've seen how much I bang on social media about the band and how much I love them, and I mean, I'm sending out music. I mean, I can't tell people that they should see a band when I probably wouldn't. Like, how's that going to work? How am I going to do that? Like, I wouldn't even know how to physically. I don't even understand how I could look someone in the eye and tell them, yeah, this gig is great.
There's plenty of
great, and like, I wouldn't go.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's plenty of people out there that can do that.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, I just don't. I mean, you'll lose people's faith anyway. Like, I mean, that's not a long-term thing, is it? Like, how can you constantly blag people and then they'll be like, I mean, you know, promoters who don't go to their own gigs. I mean, I understand as well. To be honest, if you do it full time, you can't be out at a gig every night when you're doing all the organising and the admin. You got to have a life. It gets draining. People have families and stuff that, you know, I do get that. But when it's just on my level and people just don't show up because they don't really care and they're just doing it to churn in door fee, then I don't really respect that on the level I'm on and DIY stuff. Like, you know, you got to show interest.
I mean,
there are better ways to make money, frankly. If you want to just make money, then do something else. I mean, there are loads of ways to make. You could just work in finance or banking or something like that. There's loads of ways to just be rich. If you want to work in the arts, then you got to love it. Otherwise, what are you doing? If you just want to be rich and work in the arts, then but you want to work with arts that you don't like. I mean, why are you wasting your time on that? Like, either love what you do or be rich, or ideally both. But
there's definitely. I mean, we've you know, I mean, we've been together over 10 years now, and we definitely, over that time, we've played, you know, events, gigs where you're very aware that this is, you know, almost like a marketing decision, you know, that there's an audience has been identified, and how do we get the money out of that audience, you know, and you're part of that equation, you're brought in for that. But then you've got other gigs, you know, I mean, one of the most nervous, myself, and I know I spoke to the other guys about it, one of the most nervous we've ever been was when we played at the Rozfest festival in America. And which was amazing to be asked to go out and do it. But the fact of the matter is it's you know, George Roldan, the guy who ran it, it was literally his baby. It wasn't a money making scheme. It was his money. And, you know, he put together the whole package. He booked us, he got us to America and everything. And then we went out on stage and he's there. He's in the front row for every band playing. And I just felt such a weight of responsibility. It's just like, oh man, please.
That's very lovely you did.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, please let this be a good show. And it was great. But it's just like, you know, this man, you know, exactly like yourself, you know, it's got to be like a contract of faith almost. You know, there's the money side of things and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, when we do a gig for you, you know, we're trusting that you're going to present it in a way that we're going to be happy with and all the, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I guess you're putting faith in us that we're going to, you know, do everything we can on our end as well, you know, that kind of stuff. And I think that's got to be the way forward, hasn't it? That's a beautiful thing.
Probably played it a little safe. We should try and be a little bit. We should try and scare ourselves a bit more. Try a lineup that we're like a bit not so certain with, a venue that's a little bit bigger than we used to. You know, we should, you know, once things are settled. But yeah, we've been like, everything's been a sure thing with you guys. It's like, you're lovely to work with. Music's
thanks.
great. We can, and you're very, we all get each other's part of the journey. Like everyone in Chaos Theory, that was another thing. Like pretty much everyone was a musician or had been a musician at some point, or at least also always a punter at the gigs all the time, or has been on tour with artists or managers. So everyone understands other parts of the journey. So which makes it easy. You got to work with different people. You got to know what they're going through as well. And and I think it's nice that you always try and put yourself in the shoes of everyone you work with, which just makes you easy to work with. But it's interesting what you're saying about making decisions, like career decisions, because sometimes I don't think it's wrong to just say, you know what, personally, I don't feel this band, but I can genuinely see why our audience would love them and why their audience would love us, and everyone will benefit from it. So, there's no harm in doing something like that. If it'll be a really good show for everyone else.
I think as long as you're honest with yourself, then you can do what you want. I mean, there was an interview years ago with Michael Caine, and somebody asked him, why do you do things like Jaws 3? Which I don't know if you ever see it. It's one of the worst films ever made. I think it was Jaws 3 he was in. And he was in some terrible films, The Swarm or something like that. And he said, I do 2 for them and 1 for me, meaning he'll do 2 for the money, and then that means that he can go off and do his own thing, And I see no. That's fine. There's no, you just be honest about it,
I mean, there's lots of ways to handle an artistic career. I think a good example is Titanic, because we had 2 people who were made into stars who were already on the way up. But we had Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. And then he went on, both great actors, and he went on to do like really, really commercial stuff, but always really quality, he's got such a string of amazing films now. I used to hate him up until that film. I used to hate everything he did and everything he was about. And then he just made his name, and he went on to do a string of great stuff. Kate Winslet, she did a bunch of completely obscure indie films, but with real merit. And I really love all of the stuff she did as well. And, there's no one right way to do things.
No, that's really true. Yeah.
Being sincere with yourself and doing what you want out of life, and it's okay if those things change as well. So like if you want to, it's good to like for me, like I was doing it for like happy to do it as a part-time casual thing, but it's like the landscape's changed so much promoting. I want to do a good job. And that's going to mean refining and changing the approach a little bit. And also, I feel safer to do it now. There's a really, really good bunch of people involved with the Chaos Theory. We've got Alan Pride, who's handled so much of the. He handled the stage management. He's got so much touring advice. He's in charge of. He's basically whatever he has to do, he'll do it, and it'll be done to a really high standard. Whether it's managing the merch, being in charge of stage, front of house stuff, all the front of house team we have. We've got Chris Wood and all the creators like Jose, Chris Purdy filming, Simon Callis. It's just an amazing bunch of people, and I automatically that's probably why Tenure for Chaos was my favorite event that Chaos Theory did, because the lead up to it was definitely very stressful. But on the day, once everything was set up, I knew it would be looked after, and you could
enjoy your gig.
I was just enjoying it all day, and everyone, amazing team of people. Mel does all the merch, and she's really particular because she's an admin for an accountant firm, and she doesn't understand any of the music or know any of it, but she always loves it. So she comes as a blank slate. She represents the blank slate part of our audience. She's just she's never heard of the bands before, unless she'd already been to a gig where we had them on, and then she ends up being the first one to buy all their merch. And just having a massive haul at the end, and she just loves it so much, and she just loves coming in, not having any clue what she's going to see, and then just loving it. And it's quite nice to have people like that. And she does a really great job. She's really particular. They all make sure no one's clocking off early. No one's like, I'm tired. Everyone's just breaking their back to make sure everything's done really well. Yeah, and also it's a small scene. Like Alan and I and Shaheen, we did Portal's merch stand for them at their festival, and the Portal's crew were our stage managers at Chaos Theory Festival. So
that's really cool.
So everyone knows what each other's doing, and we can trust each other even on a wider level with our events, and we help each other out because they're a great bunch. We support what each other do. There's a lot of overlap, but we don't do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And it just makes life easier. So I can't remember why I started telling you that, but the point was that there's a lot of people you can trust, which makes it easier. It makes it easier for me to then, to start making new decisions, because I'm like, you know what? There's a great bunch of people here. I feel like this is safe, and it's gonna, whatever we do, it's gonna be a good experience. So yeah,
it must be great as well.
Start building.
I know, like, you know, from having conversations with you, the way you feel about the bands that you put on and stuff, and it must feel great when you've seen some bands kind of progressing, as it were, you know, going on to bigger things, and you know.
Oh my God, that's like one of my most favorite things. That's like the most exciting thing ever. When you not just like Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, I was talking about them. But like watching careers evolve. It's like watching people starting off and just evolving and trying stuff out for themselves, trying stuff out as artists, and just growing in terms of their audience, becoming more confident in themselves and how they perform, how they present, how they write, taking bigger risks, knowing that they can because there's going to be some audience there, and just people who are really, really in tune with their community. You're a really great example of this. You're really, really in tune. You're like, they're your mates. Some of them, I came to realize that some of the gigs, some of the faces I see at every one of your gigs, you don't know everyone personally that well, but you recognize them, you appreciate them, you know, it's a community, and they're your people, and you'll do your best for them. Voden have got, you know, such a strong supportive community from different elements of what they do. Jo Quayle, every single show she's ever done, she always tries to do something new. So that same core crowd who come every time, always get to hear a little bit of a new piece she's working on, or a new version of something, or just something a little bit, just to make sure that you come back every time, you get something. You might get mainly the main set, but there's something you'll get that you haven't seen before. Yeah. And for her, it's just developing stuff. Well, I haven't finished this song, but you can hear what I'm working on. And for us, it's just really special to be part of the journey. And people like that progress. You get bands like Orebrot from Norway, who played at 10 Years of Chaos. They played 2 different sets and 2 different sides of what they do. And every album they do, they're basically a punk band, but they're so much more. They're just constantly, they're very, very artistic, and they're very much developing and exploring things while still always remaining this is our identity. But they're another band I'm really enjoying. I was watching them play punk gigs at the Windmill, and now I think they're going to become something really huge. I just think it's my favorite thing of watching a musician start from any point, wherever I might cross paths with them, and then just watching them continue to grow and develop. Whether I know them or not, if I know them, it's an extra blessing because it's an extra insight into what goes on behind that. But and there's nothing more exciting to me than somebody that's never stagnating and just always. It doesn't have to be a case of up or down. It's just they're progressing. There's a journey. They're doing something they haven't done before, and they're always testing themselves. You know, that's amazing. That's the biggest inspiration out of everything that I do.
Well, that's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing for a promoter. That's amazing. It's amazing. So listen, I think on that bombshell.
And also it pushes me. On that bombshell.
on that bombshell.
Yeah, because then I have to do better.
That's a beautiful idea to go out on, man. So thanks, Kunal. I'm going to stop recording now.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. I'm stopping recording.